was your sports hero growing up? For many boys in the late 50s and early 60s, these men seemed bigger than life. But not so for young Dale Earnhardt. His sports heroes were racing drivers, men like Rex White and Jim Pascal. But his favorite driver of them all was his dad, Ralph.
My father was always the best as far as I was concerned. And racing was exciting in his day, and I grew up around it, and it just seemed to, that's all there ever was to me, was racing.
Dale Earnhardt grew up in the town of Kannapolis, North Carolina.
Bad trouble.
Okay, a terrible crash. Richard Petty's car has turned over 7 or 8 times coming off turn 4 and was just struck by another car. It's one of the most violent accidents we've ever seen at the Daytona International Speedway here as leader Darrell Waltrip squeezes through. Petty's car nosed into the wall and then went sideways and barreled end over end and then side over side time after time. A terrible accident involving the man who has won this race 7 times over the years. Alan Kulwicki in car number 7 was involved. His car is limping towards the pits, and there is the damage number 43 STP Pontiac of Richard Petty out there on the track. It was really happened at one of the highest speed sections on the track, and we trust that Petty is okay in the car. Phil Barkdahl was involved in number 73. And we're trying to identify which other car. There's number 23, Eddie Bierschwal, Jeff Bodine in car number 15, and of course, Richard Petty, the man who has won 200 races in NASCAR events. 50-year-old grandfather from Randleman, North Carolina, is still in the car as a safety man, and the ambulance crews are out there now trying to minister to his needs.
It was one of the worst accidents we've seen here in quite a while, Chris. As you can see, the damage to the back of the car. Now the safety people are there as the other cars weave their way through. This is Trevor Boyes in car number 20.
Eddie Bierschwal.
Yeah, Eddie Bierschwal in car number 23. He hit the wall very hard with the back of his car.
And it looks as though Bierschwal is okay. They don't seem to be concerned themselves too. But parts of Petty's Pontiac are all over the racetrack. It's going to take a long, long time to clean up this damage as they're running the cars through the pits now.
Because of the debris,
right,
on the
debris.
racetrack.
So the racetrack has moved down to pit road now from the track itself due to the debris that has come off of Petty's car as it crashed over and over and over after hitting the outside wall at high speed.
Most of the drivers are, as they're coming down pit road, making pit stops, as they normally do on caution flags.
107 laps complete. Let's take a look in replay at what has happened out of turn 4.
Richard Petty was running in a pack of cars, and the back end starts to go around, and it looks like he might have been tagged by the car number 73 of Phil Barkdahl, and you can see Petty's car just framming and turning over up against the wall, and other cars coming in. There's Barkdahl hitting him as he came by, and the Eddie Bierschwal car hitting one of the tires that came off the car.
From another angle. That looks like the crash at Darlington years ago, Ned.
Fortunately, it was staying on the nose of the car for so long, Ken, so it didn't look like it was really taking hard bounces down onto the pavement.
And it dispels some of the energy. You must remind the viewers that these cars are built to take these kind of crashes. And there's Phil Barkdahl hitting the cement wall right in front of us. The chromoly frames that serve as a roll cage up under the roof to keep the car from crushing down on the driver.
Let's take a look from Ricky Rudd's vantage point.
You can see the trouble start in front of him there. Whether the 73 car hit number 43, the 73 being driven by Phil Barkdahl, or Alan Kulwicki was in the middle of it too, and the car number 7, he landed down on the grass on the inside, and he's with Mike Joy.
This is Alan Kulwicki's Xerox Ford. What happened out there?
There was an accident in a tri-oval before we got there, and I knew there was an accident. We were slowing down, and you know, I thought it was clear. I was through there. I went in between a couple cars, and there was debris all over the place. I ran over something, blew the right front tire out, and the car swerved and ended up going into the wall.
Who and what did you hit besides the wall? There's tire marks and paint all over. There's tire marks and paint all over that thing. Did you get into anybody else?
I don't think I hit anything except the wall. You know, I was clear. I was going to make it through. We ran over some debris and blew the right front tire out.
But you're okay.
Fine.
Well, there you see the remains of car number 43, Richard Petty's brand new car being taken in the ambulance. We'll try to give you an update on his condition just as soon as possible. Here's where it began. Richard Petty, who first came here in 1959, and this, I believe, is the most serious crash he's ever had in this race.
Pierschwal's pushing in there.
Yep. Or Barkdahl.
That's Barkdahl's car
Barkdahl's
going
car.
backwards there to car number 73. And Petty's car remains up against the wall, and you can see both tires fly off the car, and the other cars coming in now hitting the...
That's what worries me, is that second
That
crash. That was Brett Bodine with no place to go, and Brett making a solid hit on car number 43 spinning.
Petty's car very high up in the air. However, the front was still almost on the pavement, and you see both tires, front tires, fly off the car there almost simultaneously.
Ray J. Fort and Rick Wilson came by, made it through safely while the car was turning over.
So even though, as you pointed out a few moments ago, Chris, they reduced the speed, that does not make them that much safer.
The car was way up in the air as well. It was surprising that it climbed that high in the air.
See Kyle Petty coming down pit road. Dale Jarrett was right behind in that group of cars we see back there. Dale made a left turn down pit road and was able to avoid the trouble. Naturally, I had my eye on him.
Notice the spectators moving away. They're the officer going back from the fence.
And that's another reason that spectators, wherever they're at, if they're watching today and planning on going to a race, don't ever get down close to the fence on the racetrack. Stay as far away back as you can.
There's Eddie Bierswell's car, and there are the remains of car number 43, Richard Petty. Car crew chief Dale Inman. We'll try to give you an update on Richard Petty just as soon as possible. 108 laps complete.